What's up, guys? Your friendly neighborhood turtle hermit is back, and I've got a treat for you guys today. This is the first of several tournament matches that I had in Smogon Tour 13 earlier this year. This is against frostwyvern, and after some pretty extensive testing, we'll get to see how my team does against some of the best players around. So let's jump right into the action. Alright, I'm going to be leading with Raikou. He's going to lead with Gliscor, and I don't have Hidden Power Ice on this Raikou, and nothing else OHKO's a standard lead, but Gliscor players can't risk staying in on Raikou, so I go to Gyarados in case he does stay in and try for the Stealth Rock or Earthquake. If he switches, I figured it'd be fine since lead Gliscor usually means it's stall, which Gyarados runs over once rotom-a is out of the picture. He goes to Heat trying to scout for it, so it worked out well. I went for the Waterfall to scout, and he might have thought his Heat trend was faster than my Gyarados, which might explain the reason why he stayed in. But he goes to Breloom to take the second Waterfall, only to 21%, so it's most likely to Subseed Breloom. Going off this info, I go for the Taunt since I resist the only attack Subseed Breloom has. He does go for the Spore. Expecting him to switch here, I just decide to Dragon Dance in case he stays in. And even if he switches to rotom-w, I do have Wackenberry, which means only Specs Jolteon can still OHKO Gyara through it. He does reveal rotom-w. It's looking more and more like stall. I went for Waterfall to scout the set. He stays in the Thunderbolt, and he shows Lefty, so it's a defensive variant. The Jig's up though, so I have to switch here, so not really having a good switch in for rotom-w without knowing its entire set. I go to Raikou first in case he predicts a switch to a physical attacker, which and goes for the Will-O-Wisp, but he sticks with Thunderbolt. I just go for the extra Sensory to threaten the 3-hit KO. He stays in, went for the Hydro Pump. With the damage that he did, it looks like I'll win this matchup, although just barely. But Raikou doesn't fare too well against stall teams anyway, and that's exactly what happens. I win out with 13% Despair. He brings in Tentacruel on the free switch, so it's definitely a stall team. Knowing he's got Gliscor, I went for the extra Sensory instead of Thunderbolt in case of a double switch. Since Gyarados is low and it has no recovery, I need to try to keep Stealth Rock off the field. He finishes Raikou off with the Sludge Bomb. I reveal Aerodactyl. I make the obvious move here and go for the Earthquake. I think my mind was set on preventing Toxic Spikes for Tyranitar, but he wouldn't stay in either way in hindsight. He just goes to Gliscor, gets it in for free. I don't have Taunt on this arrow. It's not the standard Life Orb set. He will try for the Stealth Rock, so knowing this, I get Gyarados in now before they go up. And I make a bit of a bad move here. I tried immediately for the Dragon Dance, but I should have just gone for Waterfall again, since Gliscor typically carries Taunt if it's on a stall team, which he went for, and he has U-Turn and Taunt on the same set. So he reveals his own Gyarados here, and after Waterfalling, I'm in a tight spot. I gotta go to Magneton here, hoping he doesn't Dragon Dance, but he dances. Have to Thunderbolt now despite him having a Gliscor. But Magneton still had a chance to outspeed his Gyarados depending on his spread in nature, but he goes to Gliscor, and I have to switch here, so I go to Bronzong, figuring if he taunts, I have Hidden Power Ice, but he knows I have to switch, so U turns out and goes back to Breloom to keep the momentum going. Spore was most likely the next move for him. With Raikou gone though, I needed Sleep Fodder, and Bronzong can end up being set up fodder for his Gyarados again, so I let it take the sleep, and I go to Gyarados now. In hindsight, I probably could have went to it as Sleep Fodder last turn instead of Bronzong to use it for Death Fodder later on, after Breloom was dealt with, but I digress. Get the Intimidate drop on it. With Gyara being at 6%, I just decided the best thing to do would be to break the sub and just go for the bounce. And I do manage to come down and hit it with the bounce, thankfully, as my opponent finishes Gyarados off with a Focus Punch. And I'm going to send Tyranitar in on the free switch here, knowing Tyranitar will outrun Subseed Breloom since it runs almost no speed. And I immediately decide to show the Ice Punch to get some damage in, and he switches out to Gliscor though. Sandveil does not kick in, so it takes a ton. He must have been expecting the more standard fire punch. So I just decided to just ice punch again, hoping he would earthquake, but he just U-turns out. He might have figured out my set by now. He's going to go back to Tentacool. Now, I did a calc here, and even at the health level Tyranitar is at, it had a pretty good chance of living a Surf, so I decided to stay in and try for a Dragon Dance and get a sweep going. However, he shows that he's got Hydro Pump, which I was not expecting at all coming from the type of team that he's got. Hydro Pump easily takes down Tyranitar, and I bring Bronzong in on the free switch. The plan here is to bait the Gyarados to come back in and double switch to Magneton, but he goes back to Breloom instead. I just decided to lock into Flash Cannon at this point, since that's the best thing I thought I could have gone for, with me being as behind as I am now. Explosion was another option since Rotom-w was gone, but I thought maybe I could preserve Magneton depending on what he went for. But he subs up though, and because of that, I can't preserve Magneton anymore. And I'll have to make the offensive decision of putting the entire team on Aerodactyl's back, because it's my only hope of winning at this point. It's a 2-5 situation. Finishes Magneton off with a Focus Punch as I break the sub. I bring Aero in. It's time to see what my custom set can do. Although the very Pokemon it's designed to beat isn't on my opponent's team, so I wasn't comfortable going for the Earthquake because Breloom was over 25% and it's Sub-Seed Breloom, so it's heavily invested in defense. So I showed the trump card, Fire Blast, but he just goes to Tentacool. And I wonder if he was expecting that, since Tentacool's a pretty bad switch into Aerodactyl, but I just go for the Earthquake this turn to finish Tentacool off. It gives him a free switch in, but it's not like I have a choice at this point. And I go right for the Stone Edge here after he gets his Gyarados in, hoping for a crit. I don't get it, but it does bring the Gyarados to 4%. He does Dragon Dance up, thankfully, trying to finish me off. Sand takes it out, and that is a huge game swing for me. So he's going to bring Gliscor in, go for the Fire Blast, hoping with the investment I have, it's enough to OHKO, and it is. He's going to bring Heatran back in. I go for Earthquake as he protects, but he's got no flyers left, just a lone Breloom, so I feel comfortable just Earthquaking again. But he's going to decide to fodder Heatran out to get his Breloom back in as his last Pokemon. And I'm thinking here, yes, Aerodactyl coming through in the clutch. So I'm going to go for the Fire Blast since I'm still not comfortable with Earthquake, and I miss. I guess it was inevitable. He finishes me with a Focus Punch. I should have gone for Earthquake again since it does 12% minimum. So I'm thinking it's over at this point. The only way I can win is if Bronzong wakes up. And I bring it in, he goes for the Focus Punch, and Bronzong wakes up right on time, gets the Hidden Power Ice off for the win. A very scary at the end there. Extremely close game. A bit too close for my comfort zone, but anyway, guys, that was an excellent game, frostwyvern. I definitely hope to play you again, and stay tuned for round 2, guys. That is going to be against Lily, and but until then, Chun is out. Peace.